It's not quite 6 o'clock. Okay, now it is.
It is okay.
It is now. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Clarkdale Town Council meeting on Tuesday, March 12th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Clark Memorial Clubhouse. Roll call. Vice Mayor Hunsetter. Here. Councilmember Babbitt Pierce.
Present.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Present.
And please note that Mayor Prudhomme Bauer is here. We have a quorum. The next item up on the agenda, before we get started with that, I just want to make a quick note. I want to note the passing of a longtime resident of Clarkdale who served on the Planning Commission for many, many years, Jorge Olaquin. Some of you might remember he passed away in December. I saw his obituary, but I think he served on council or on a planning commission for probably 14 years, something like that. So he was very committed and loved being on planning commission. So I just want to acknowledge his passing. So, and also I want to say thank you for the open house on this afternoon. Just before, we had an open house on the Selma Mangini Park plans, and it was a wonderful turnout. So thank you, Joni and staff, for putting that together also. So with that, let's go to public comment. The town council invites the public to provide comment at this time. Members of the town council may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later time. If you're interested in making a public comment on a specific agenda item, and I do have a couple of those tonight, just hold those comments until then. I'll recognize you. But if you want to, and you can fill out a form if you want to speak on any item tonight. For public comment, each speaker is limited to comments for about 5 minutes. So is there anybody wishing to make general comment? Yes, please come on up and just state your name. And if you're a Clarkdale resident, welcome.
Thank you. My name is Nathan Porter. I am a Clarkdale resident. I live in Mountain Gate. And I wanted to come talk to the council just a little bit about Clarkdale Parkway. I live in Mountain Gate and I walk on a regular basis from Mountain Gate to downtown. Volunteer at the museum. Sometimes I go to Smelter Town. So it's a regular path for me. And just wanted to remind the council that it's a little bit daunting to walk along that street. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour. But I can tell you when you're about this far away from cars, you can tell when they're going 25 or they're going 35 or 40. So I would like to see the town have more maybe police presence or those signs that tell you what your speed is. That would be helpful to us, to those of us who walk on that street. Also, being from Mountain Gate is a real high priority for people in Mountain Gate to have a sidewalk. And I understand part of the funding for the sidewalk was related to the Highlands project, or may still be in the future. But a sidewalk would be a great help to us, would make it a lot easier for people from Mountain Gate to walk into town for the events that are in town. And also, because the sidewalk apparently would be going in on the west side of the street, then people are going to have to be crossing Clarkdale Parkway to get onto the sidewalk. And the roundabout that's at the intersection of Clarkdale Parkway and Mountain Gate Drive has large, I don't know, artistic thing in the middle of it. You can't see what's beyond the roundabout when you're coming up or you're coming down Clarkdale Parkway. So I just wanted to point out those things to make sure that the town keeps those in mind, even when there is a sidewalk, it's gonna be a challenge for people to cross Clarkdale Parkway. And, you know, there's even talk of kids going to school from Mountain Gate over across the street and then walking over to the school. It's gonna be a little bit daunting to cross there. There's no real crosswalks there now that go across Clarkdale Parkway. So we'd like to see a little more police enforcement there, and also to keep the landscape. There are, you know, thorny trees that sometimes stick out into the road or close to the road if you're trying to walk in the shore. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I think we all know that Clarkdale Parkway is a challenging road for a sidewalk on either side, because it's not just a sidewalk. It's a bridge over a wash, and how do we cross to a very big wash easily? So we are working on that. We have received funding for planning on it. And the next phase will be, once that's done, I believe we'll be looking at some grant money to get that done. So it's been a long time coming for us. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Public comment?
Amanda Arnold, I live here in Clarkdale, over in Mountain Gate. Thank you, Mayor and council members. I appreciate your time. I'm gonna ask some questions about the fair housing, or not, I'm sorry, not the fair housing, but the affordable housing that's on the agenda.
Right.
I think it sounds great. I'm sure there'll be a
Can
lot
we
of.
leave that item, your comments on that to the item, and I'll open up for comment during that time?
Okay,
Okay,
right.
that would be appreciated. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to come up and make public comment? Okay. Hearing none, nobody coming up, anybody's online, Charity, nobody's online, that was, okay, thank you. Let's go ahead to item 4, which is a memorandum to council. It was a special event liquor license recommendation for the historic downtown Clarkdale criterium, and this is only information only that they have applied for a liquor license for their event upcoming in April. Move on to item 5, which are reports. Our reports from the council are all online as part of the packet, mayor's, vice mayor, and council member reports. Are there any other comments you need to make? Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I mistakenly put on my report that I attended the NAMWA Technical Advisory Committee meeting, and I did not.
Okay,
So
thank you. Take that off. Yes.
I
Laura.
just want to share an observation from reading the report, the NACOG report. And there's a ton of information in the NACOG report. If you haven't read it, it's like hundreds of pages. But and there are many important things in it, but the thing that struck me is our shortage of workers for pre-K and nursery school, pre-nursery school, I think they're called. And that we have hundreds of kids in the county that aren't able to go to these programs because we don't have staff for them. And it's just, there's nothing, I don't know if there's anything for us to do, but I just felt it was worth saying that out loud, because I think it's really a detriment to our community that there's funding for these programs, but we don't have the staff. There's nobody that is working in those programs right now. And it's not just Yavapai County. It seems like it's all of Northern Arizona that's having that problem.
NACOG is a council of government entity that covers 4 counties in northern Arizona. So I agree with you, Laura. That was a huge part of the report, and it struck me too that and this is for the Head Start program.
Head Start, thank you. That was.
Programs, the hundreds of positions that are not filled. And I think they've got some plans for trying to recruit.
I'll address that when it comes my time for the
Gotcha.
report.
That'll be down, but thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, Junior, got it. Anything else on reports? Okay, let's go on to organizational reports. These are organizations that council members attend on regular basis when they have them. So the first one is Cottonwood Area Transit,
No meeting.
Verde Valley Transportation Planning Organization,
We meet on March 27th.
Northern Arizona Council of Governments.
Yes, we did have a NACOG meeting on February 22nd. There was the executive committee meeting first and then the general session meeting. And yes, as Councilmember Jones mentioned, Head Start is really struggling and it is affecting us right here within the Verde Valley because they had to shut down a classroom in Cottonwood because they just don't have the teachers and the staff that they need to keep those rooms functional and safe. And they have done job fairs and they had one applicant that applied and unfortunately that person was not qualified to fill a position. So they've been forced to shut down and there is a waiting list of children. So I know that Town Manager Guthrie has put in her report information. It's a great benefits package for anybody that's a new teacher starting out or maybe an experienced teacher that wants to get out of mainstream and do something like this. Or they also have tuition reimbursement in their packet. So, I mean, it's just a really, really good program and they're desperately seeking people that can come in and be a teacher. They can cook, they can be a teacher's aide. It's just a really robust program. And they need staff, they have facilities. We did also learned in the meeting that Camp Verde, part of that new housing development that's coming in, they are building an ACOG classroom down there specifically for the residents of that area for children to go to. But if they can't get staff to run it, that could be a problem. So just heightened exposure and awareness. And if you know somebody that's looking for a job, point them my direction, or even Trish Gomez, who worked with us on the car show this weekend. She's head of the Head Start. She's got several campuses here in Northern Arizona. So I'll be meeting with her in the near future. We talked about that. And that's all I have for that.
Okay.
And sorry about it being such a big packet. I noticed that.
And I did. I think some of it was their audit, so.
Yeah, which came out really, really well.
Yeah, it looked like it. Thank you. Northern Arizona Municipal Water Users Association, NAMWA.
No meeting.
Okay. Transportation Policy Advisory Council.
We meet on Thursday and I'm really excited about this meeting. We're talking about a couple of federal grants that are coming down. So have some more information to share coming up.
Great. Verde Front Leadership Council, we did meet since the last time. I don't have, the notes aren't out yet. We did add 2 people to the Leadership Council. One is Laura, last name I don't remember, who runs the STEM Council, is going to join us.
L'Oreal trainer?
I think so, that's, yeah. And the other one will escape me.
David,
Hmm?
David?
I don't think so. I can't remember.
Bailey
who the other
Travis?
one.
No, the new friends of the Verde.
No, no, it's somebody else is going to join us. Oh, Kevin Adams from the Trails Fund. He's going to be joining us, which will be a nice addition to the Verde Front Leadership Council. Basically, it's a reporting out of the outdoor recreational activities and trails work happening throughout the region, which is wonderful coordination. All of the people there from the Forest Service talked about the coordination that's going to happen this year over prescribed burns, so that hopefully that will mitigate some of the smoke issues that we have, not just for us as people who live here, but it also was adversely affected an industry. The wine industry was heavily affected by the smoke last year. So they're very cognizant of that. Department of Forestry has also been invited as part of the group. So I think we will be seeing not necessarily less, but maybe better coordination of when they occur, so that it's not all at once and won't be as impacting as it was last year. So those are the things that we talked about at the Leadership Council. As soon as the notes are available, I will direct them to all of us. Greater Arizona Mayors Association hasn't met, no report. Sustaining Flows Committee,
Yeah, we did a field trip to the headwaters of the Verde last week, and it was the first time I'd actually saw where the initial springs come out of the ground up by Granite Creek, and so that was really terrific. The other thing that we did as part of that field trip is we went and visited the Prescott Water Ranch. And if anybody's interested in what a water ranch is, it's what it sounds like. It is 7,000 acres up above Chino Valley and above Halden that Prescott will potentially pump thousands of acre feet of water out to get water to Prescott and Prescott Valley. And so it was interesting to see. It is a retired ranch, so there's no more ranching and there's no more agriculture going on the property. So it's sort of swapping out agricultural water for residential or municipal water. But I think it's something that we all have to be paying attention to, because in theory, it is not supposed to impact the headwaters of the river, but I think it's going to take time to see in practice what it actually does. But it's an incredibly beautiful section. If you're going up 69, you sort of take a left and you just keep going and keep going and keep going, and you get on a ranch road, and then you get on another ranch road, and then you go out and you're just out in the middle of nowhere. So I think there's a lot of great work being done around the effort to keep the river flowing, but I think everybody's got to stay vigilant and watch what's happening. And I think this Prescott Water Ranch is something for us all to keep our eyes on.
Yavapai Communities for Young Children.
We meet again in April.
Great. That's all of our organizational reports. Let's move on to item 6, consent agenda. There are 2 items on consent tonight. The first one being approval of the minutes of the council on February 27th, 2024. And the second item is the Mingus Union High School Facilities Use Agreement. So do either of these items need to be pulled off of the agenda for discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Vice Mayor Hunsetter and seconded by Councilmember Babette Pierce to approve the consent agenda items A through B as presented. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, hearing none, motion carried. Great. Let's move on to new business. The first item up tonight is the Selma Mangini Park. This is discussion only and review of the final Selma Mangini Park. Again, we had a park plan, I should say. And we have Parks and Recreation Director Joni Westcott, who will speak on this topic. Following that, if it's okay with the council, we do have one member of the public who would like to speak, if that's okay. Okay. Thank you, Joni, and welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor and Council. Thank you for letting us come in today to talk to you about the Selma Mangini Park Plan. We have a mission statement for this park, and our dear friend Felicia was the one who actually put this together, who's worked so hard in helping us get the grant to revitalize Selma Mangini Park so that it is once again a hub of community activity, as it once was. So just as a little bit of a reminder, we've been working on this park plan for quite some time. Since 2018, we started initially doing public outreach. we ran into some bumps in the road, and it wasn't again until 2021 that we began looking at the project again and applying for grants. We had the opportunity for someone to help us with the writing of that grant, which made it much easier for us to get through with our limited staff resources. So the initial plan there was a plan in 2018. There was a new plan in 2021 based on, oh my gosh, additional public input at that time. And then throughout the grant process, we learned that we had to change the plan again because we had we had to move everything that we were doing for our grant into the property that we owned. Since we didn't own the upper end of the park, we have a 25-year lease on that with the Selmas and Monginis to maintain as a park. However, because we did not physically own it, it could not be a part of the grant. So hence we did another change on the plan. And yeah, so I want to talk to you about, Jerry, you can move to the next one. Thank you. So we now have a new plan that we've been working on with the landscape architect. And I mean, this park is full of amazing features, and we're just super excited to get it going. We did have to initially in that 2021 plan, we had planned for a educational water feature that we then decided wasn't a responsible use of water for the town of Clarkdale, even though it was an educational resource to teach water conservation. It wasn't such a good idea to use water to do that. So, so we decided to remove that. Also, it was over $500,000 project, the way we wanted to build it. So that wasn't going to work out. We also, with that in mind, we removed, and for budget reasons, we removed the amphitheater that was planned with terrace seating and solar cover to act as an outdoor classroom. Since we were no longer going to have the water feature to bring schools in for that educational piece, we decided that wasn't a good use of our funds. Plus, we didn't have money for that in the first phase anyway. The second dugout, which is on Selma property, was initially included to be renovated, but we're working on getting permission to do that because it isn't on our property and we won't be able to use the grant funds for that. So that was a change. And then we also had initially planned, do you have a question? Okay.
So we don't have that. Which one is that?
It's the one
on
lower.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have verbal and some emails that, you know, it was okay, but we want to have that conversation again, just to be sure that we're okay. So we will do that. And then we also, at some point, we had 2 restrooms planned, one for the area here that we have one now, and one for the other side of the park. And just budget constraints, we decided to move that. The 1 bathroom for the size of the park. It's actually 1 bathroom with 2 units. So it's 1 building with 2 units. So also I want to mention there was a lot of attention given to ADA, you're fine, ADA accessible areas of this park for everyone. And that was really important to us. And so a lot of consideration went into that with the restroom placement, with the Ramada that is at where the home plate the ball field is. And all of the inner part of the park where there aren't any hills. Where we have hills, we weren't quite able to accomplish that in all those areas, but there's a large portion of the park that has it. And then also, as part of our plan for the playground equipment, will be ADA accessible equipment for toddlers and for older children in all aspects that we're doing the equipment, though that is a consideration. I just wanted to mention that. So some of the things that were added. Along the way, we had some art locations throughout the park where we have opportunities to put some really cool art. We don't know what it is yet, but we will figure that out. We will find the artist. I know you're out there or something that will help us with that. We have retaining sitting walls around the pickleball and basketball courts. We needed a little bit of a wall there because of that hill anyway, and so they made them, they're grading it so they can make them low enough for sitting, which is another opportunity for watching the activities that are going on. We added a bike rack. We added, showed our picnic table placements. We actually only budgeted for 3 tables for the park. So we had to carefully choose where we're going to put those, and then we'll be able to add more in at a later time. We added a DG pad for the placement of event portable restrooms. So if someone wanted to use this park for an event, a wedding, something along those lines, we have a place to place the portable restrooms in for those events. So they aren't out on the street. They aren't, there's a place within the park. And it's also just a nice open space that we can use for all kinds of things. So multi-purpose. And then we added a boulder clad slope. And the slope is, we've got a bit of a hill anyway, and we were looking for some natural opportunities for geological specimens from the Verde Valley, as well as just kind of a cool rock area for someone to climb on if they want, but it's not designated. And we already have a donor for the rocks for the boulders from Phoenix Cement. So we're excited about that. And then we added a climbing vine wall. So this is between the, Trudy, would you go to the next picture for me? No, maybe the next one. Okay, just go back to where we were.
That one?
Oh, that's the one I was looking for. Yes, we had that one. So we have this nice pavilion, 40-foot pavilion. We have water capture. Water capture right behind that, and the tank behind to water the vegetation behind there. And then we have the basketball court. So we have vegetation plan for here, and then we have the basketball court with no flag. So we decided that it would be a good idea to create this fence with some vegetation potentially to make it pretty. Maybe some grapevine, some kind of low water plant that we could plant on that. And it would also just kind of provide some additional aesthetics in that area. So those were the add-ons. Any questions so far?
I have.
Okay.
So in the rare event that it snows, there are kids in the neighborhood that sled on that little hill where the boulders are gonna go. So,
Is that right?
yeah.
I know this.
Are you making fun of me?
No.
Okay. So anyway, I would want at least a path big enough that they don't hit a rock. I know
Yeah,
it doesn't happen often, but you know, take
Yeah.
advantage when you can.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
Thank
And
you.
knowing now what I know, we'll make that happen. Yeah, thank you for that information.
So that climbing wall is for plants, not people, correct?
It's not.
Okay, and the boulder slope, is that for water retention or land retention? Is there
It
another
will serve a
purpose to
purpose.
it?
It will serve somewhat of a purpose. The ground slopes down in that area a bit. And so it's just a place for us to be able to place some boulders along there. Yeah.
Okay. And the art locations is the desire to get local Clarkdale artists to.
There is a desire for that,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Okay, moving right along. Our play opportunities, we have one zip line. Let me be clear what a zip line is, for those of you who think we're gonna be zip lining from here down to there. It is a play structure through a playground company that has tracks and with hanging apparatus for kids to get on. There's a disc they get on and they slide down to the other end and back and forth. We have planned for a 2 bay unit that will have one section that will be ADA with a bucket, latch and bucket seat. So, so there's the zip line.
Uh-huh.
So it's not, yeah.
When I first heard that, whatever iteration it was, 2018 or 2021, and then I went to Dead Horse and they have one and it's really cool and you can see it's playground equipment. So it looks safe, as safe as monkey bars.
They're not very far off the ground. And we
Right.
use the same surface as we do at all of our parks and fall zones with the wood fiber
Right.
that makes it really spongy and cushy in
Right.
case they fall. And then we have the basketball court, which is now just a small half court. This court should be high school regulation size when it is complete. That is our ask. And then we also have the 2 pickleball courts. Oh, the playgrounds. Kids, we're still on kids. And kids play pickleball too. We have the toddlers playground, and then we have the big kids playground separated kind of by the pavilion, but parents can sit in the pavilion and see them. We also have picnic tables in that area for families to enjoy a picnic while their kids are playing and be able to see them. And then there's plenty of things for adults as well. So, and that's, oh, sorry, yeah, go. That image is on this one, is on the right, on the left. Is kind of what the zip lines look like. It gives you an idea. And then for adults, of course, we have basketball, pickleball, walking trails all throughout the park, walking sidewalks. For all levels, there's a very flat surface for those who just want to take a short stroll and can't get very far. We have benches placed along for sitting in case someone needs to take a rest. So there's a lot of good things going on. And of course, a place to picnic. And now we're on to our landscape plan. We need some trees and some vegetation down there to provide shade in our hot Arizona sun. We have cut back on the amount of trees that we initially planned to plant because of water consideration. And so we've decreased that some. And then all of our plants, of course, will be as part of the town's regulation, plantings, water conservation type plantings. We all have shrubs and we have pollinator gardens, which I heard almost more about that than pickleball today from folks who came to visit us about the pollinator gardens. We have actually the folks who do the plant sale are really excited to work with us and help us with creating those gardens and making sure we're planting the right things for the bees and the butterflies. And then, of course, all the plants will be drought tolerant and with sustainability in mind, with the passive water collection that we're going to be doing off of the pavilion and anywhere else that we can possibly put it in. So everything we're looking at is water conservation. And then let's talk about the grass or not grass, depending on what we decide. So we are considering artificial turf for the lawn area. And we're just basically waiting for some prices to come in to see what that's going to look like. And then we'll make a decision on that. I have a little bit more on that in just a second. And then we're going to go to our project status. We have our final, as you can see, our final hardscape and landscape plans. We are now waiting for the cost analysis for the park as the plan reflects. When we did our initial budget for this park, it was in 2021, and it took us this long to get our grant and get the funding and jump through all the hoops that we needed to do. And so now we're having a new cost analysis done to see how it compares. We anticipate, we hear it's probably going to be close to 30%, 30% increase. And so at that point, based on our public comment today, we will take those comments, and we've actually received some emails as well, and take those comments and look at doing some value engineering, depending on what our budget looks like, how our budget comes in. If we're going to need to remove something or make some changes in the plan, then we'll use our public comments to help guide us in that way.
And can you share with us any of the comments that you might have gotten today?
Well, I
Not
can
as an
tell you the verbal
indication.
ones I have and the ones that I've received via email. I had 3 emails regarding two of them regarding the pickleball concern, the pickleball noise concern. The conversations we had today were primarily around the pickleball concerns. There were some people who were really excited about the pickleball, but they're not living right across the street from the pickleball. So, and they were honest about that. And so that, of course, is going to be a big consideration for us in going forward. We've done a lot of research. When we initially put those pickleball courts in, I want to share this with you. We had just an influx of community members begging us to put pickleball courts in the park. And at the time it was, like what everybody wants. And, we have the room, let's go ahead and put them in. And we have had the plan out there to folks to look at and be aware that the pickleball courts are there. But in the meantime, things have happened where, because it's become such a popular sport, there's a lot of conversation, a lot of controversy, a lot of concern about the noise of pickleball courts. And so we're in that place right now where that's something that, we're hearing from the public, that concern. We've done some research to determine how to mitigate that noise. If it's possible for that location, there's a lot for us to consider in that. Some of the things we've learned is you could potentially put the court down kind of in the ground and then build walls all around it. There's equipment, pickleball equipment that is designed to be quieter, more quiet, and surfacing is also changed to be more sound absorbing. So that's where we're at. But again, we had so many great comments on all of the elements of the park. people were really concerned about the bathroom because unfortunately the plan that we got out to the residents missed, the bathroom is on the plan, it just didn't say that it was a bathroom. So we were able to let folks know that, yes, there is a bathroom and we're glad about that. Some of the other considerations, did that answer your question, Anne?
Yeah, no, I just thought it would be nice to share.
Yeah, I
what
don't-
kind of
we had
comments
so many
we've done,
cards.
And I know there's a lot of analysis to go, but just to
Yeah.
hear what people have to say.
Yeah, and that was, it was a big part of it. Some of our considerations are, you know, what I already said, the inflation costs, the artificial turf versus grass, the pavilion, ramada and bathroom designs we're working on now. Incorporating the dugout is a consideration, the landscaping, lighting throughout the park were still in consideration. The Mangini side of the park. So you know, that was a comment I got quite a bit today. Well, what about, why does everything look so pretty in this part and this part doesn't? And again, because we don't own that property, and there are grants that we can get, like the Heritage Grant we could apply for that property renovation with a 25-year lease. It's just the Land and Water Conservation Grant that we couldn't. So that's a consideration for us. We don't want our trails in the new part of the park to end and not go into. So obviously we want to do our best to come up with the funds to be able to, you know, make everything look good all at one time.
Right.
And so we're working on that. Parking was a consideration. We, you know, when you put in a pavilion and some grass, the large grass area, it's probably going to draw, you know, some folks. And so we want to make sure we have enough parking. And the architect was able to, the engineer was able to come up with some additional parking design, but we can't do it within our grant because it wasn't an initial part of the conversation. We didn't fund budget for that. So that will be a part of our next step with the Mangini, Selma Mangini. And then, of course, the pickleball noise concerns. And in the end, we will hopefully finalize our contractor before long, finalize the plan, the contractor, and break ground late this summer.
Great comments. Let's start with Marty, then Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, Joni. This is an incredible presentation. I was on Parks and Recreation Commission in 2018 when we started this plan, and it is so cool to see how it has changed and developed. And the town has listened to residents, and the changes are based on what people have asked for. So I fully expect that with the pickleball court, that will be honored as well. It's really important to me that we maintain that ADA, and so I was so excited to hear access is a huge part of this park. Yeah. When it comes to pickleball, we have pickleball at Copper Penny Park and Centerville. Have we had any noise complaints from either of those?
We have not.
Okay.
We have not.
And
But they're a fair distance from, well, the Centerville ones are not that far. They're very close actually to the homes that are there. They are pretty close. The Copper Penny ones are a bit of a distance from most homes, but I have not had any complaints from either.
I realize I'm putting you on the spot, but can you remind us of the park hours in Clarkdale?
Park hours are from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Thank you.
And that was if I could add a consideration for the pickleball courts, because we have in our budget for lighting for those courts, which would be, you know, dark sky kind of lighting that focuses right down on the court with the barriers around them. But they would be on a timer with a certain cutoff. So we would definitely not be having, you know, pickleball being able to go all night long in there.
Thank you.
So that was part of the plan.
Laura,
And I assume the same thing for the basketball court will be there, timer light.
No, we didn't actually plan for lights for the basketball court. Yeah,
My question was, is there any, or will there be any naming opportunities in the park? Like benches or pollinator gardens or, I don't know. I immediately, as you were talking, had the thought of wanting to honor a Clarkdale gardener. And so it may be a way to raise funds. I don't know if we have a policy for this or not. I have no idea. But I don't know. It just seemed like you could buy a bench in somebody's memory. You could name a pollinator. You could name a butterfly, kind of.
thank you for asking that question. We do have had conversations about doing some type of a what do you call it?
Capital campaign. Yeah, so,
Some kind of a capital campaign.
so we're working on
Okay,
that.
I didn't know what it was called, but I
Yeah.
know what it is. I just didn't
Yeah,
know what it
we
was.
we're starting to flesh that out and we actually got our first donation. Salt River Materials Group is gonna donate the boulders for the boulder slope. Boulder clad slope, but we are gonna come up with naming rights for several of the major features, but I really that was a great thought about even looking at things that, individuals might be willing to sponsor. So I think Shell and I are gonna work on that document together and get that out.
And we've had a conversation, we have started the beginnings of working on a memorial program for the entire town. Because we don't get a lot of requests, but we get them occasionally and we want to kind of do that thoughtfully for the future of our town and so we're working on that piece as far as being able to do individual benches and along those lines, so.
Can I add to, so Joni had mentioned the turf versus grass, and, I think that's really something that we have to have a lot more dialogue about, but just in preparation for that, we did a lot of research. We actually did a study that was incorporated in a bigger study, but it was looking at what the cost would be to run Purple Pipe. And Purple Pipe is how you get treated effluent anywhere. It's like, and it's about a $500,000 project to get the treated effluent to the park. But it would save us about 2 acre-feet of water per year is the estimate. So we're looking at a grant for that, for the future. Certainly won't dovetail timing wise with this project, but it could be something for the future. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
And even artificial turf needs to have a certain amount of water to
clean
keep it clean and cool it down if it needs to be. And I did mention that to several people today who were, had concerns about water conservation and they were delighted about that idea, so.
And we'll probably, we're thinking of the appropriations grants so that's why the timing will be kind of off. But that's what I think one of the projects that we'll submit for will be that project.
other questions for Joni? If not, I'd like to,
No,
Go
no
ahead.
question, just comment. Obviously, been around, saw the 2018 and then the 2021, I think you presented over when we were all over in the police building. The Dimes was there. We're all crammed in that little space. So I'm glad to see how this has evolved and it's just an exciting, I said, this is something that's been on the checklist for a long time because it is so important. I mean, everyone loves our town park. It's a great park. It gets used a lot, but this is the one that everyone going to and from the train, to and from Patio Neighborhood, Lower Clarkdale. It's just, it's its own crown jewel. And this is just something that neighborhood desperately needs. And I'm so excited to see a plan. I'm excited to hear that we may break ground sometime in this, this year, so.
too.
Congratulations on bringing a plan forward. It looks like a solid plan, maybe with a few more tweaks, but
Yeah,
we'll get there, and I appreciate you putting on the forum tonight for people to have community input and see it on something smaller than a screen,
Yeah.
something bigger. So
yes,
that we
and I
can
would
see.
encourage you, when you're done, we'll leave these up. So, or you, I think you guys all got a chance to look
Yeah,
at it
it's
already, but to
fabulous.
anyone who didn't, we'll leave up the signs, and please feel free to take a closer look at the park. And I did also want to mention that we, that, hmm.
It's been a long day.
Well, I was one of the people concerned about the restroom when I heard it wasn't there, and I'm like, what? It's gotta have a restroom, so glad it is truly there. And the new restrooms are great over in the park. I had the
Thank you.
experience Saturday of
Thank
seeing
you.
them, so.
Yeah, the goat heads is the best thing that has come out of this,
The removal of the goat heads.
That is the best thing.
Yes, the removal of the goat heads. Dogs do not like goat heads, and
Yeah.
neither do children.
It don't work. Why don't we go ahead and we have somebody who wants to speak on this, Wendy Jackson, come on up and, you have 5 minutes, okay? Welcome, and just state your name and if you're a Clarkdale resident.
Okay, my name's Wendy Jackson, and my property abuts to the entire park, really. And I'm excited, all the great work everybody's done, Joni and the grant funding and everybody that's been involved. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure it's gonna be fabulous. My main concern is the noise from the pickleball courts. And so I didn't realize that at first, because I didn't really know what it was, but now I'm doing a little bit of research. So I'm basically representing the neighbors that are around the park. Right now, most people in cities say that they should be 500 feet from a property minimum, and a lot of them are 600 feet for the cities. Right now, we have houses down the line 50 feet, and such. My property from the pickleball court is 175 feet. So then it goes from 600 feet is okay, you can hear it 977 feet. However, most of the cities say 600 feet's okay, 500, some cities are, then we gotta look at approval. 350 feet, there's abatement, noise abatement. Less than that, 175 feet, you almost can't stop the noise. Even if you put up 10 to 12 foot walls, even if you buy the Accu screens and all these other things, plants don't do anything. So I thought I would give you just, for facts, I just printed one. If we can somehow put that on the record or share it, however. And it's just an example of a 24-page document of a city ordinance that they had to pass on an emergency last September for the city in Colorado. And it's the city of Centennial, Colorado. And there are experts and that's just for pickleball. It's 24 pages just on their new ordinances that they have. And the reason it's so different is because, and I'll just read from there, it says that according to the availability of the information and research, outdoor pickleball is known to create a notable change in the acoustic environment of the area surrounding pickleball courts that is different in comparison to other forms of outdoor recreation and activities such as tennis. Whereas according to the acoustical engineers, the sound produced in a pickleball paddle impacting the pickleball is classified as an impulsive sound that is near and most sensitive frequency range of human hearing. Whereas impulsive sounds are known to create greater annoyance than other forms of sound because they are similar to sound that contains important information about our environment that alert people to events occurring nearby that may necessitate a response to such as footsteps, a door opening, or speech. And whereas research shows that continuous impulsive sounds such as noise produced by a pickleball paddle making impact with the pickleball make it difficult to relax, concentrate, sleep soundly without disturbance, as each impact heard draws attention and creates distraction. And whereas it is established that high amplitude acoustical pressures may cause hearing impairment as well as other types of injury to the body, and low levels of noise may have adverse long-term psychological effects. And whereas low-level noise exposure that disturbs sleep and concentration are known to produce a range of diagnostic illness and disorders. This goes on this document. It also shows that readily available media reports concerning pickleball noise and noise in other forms of recreational activities, professional articles, and consultant and engineering study prepared for other governments. World Health Organization has reported on this. Standards and specific available from American National Standards Institute. Also the International Organization for Standardization, the ISO, and ASTM International, formerly known as the American Society of Testing and Materials. I talked to a fellow that's done about 10 pickleball courts. There's one up in Yavapai Hills, the HOA up there, they hired him. Several cities have had to hire because of this issue. It's caused a lot of lawsuits. And since we are, I talked to Spenderian and Willis, their acoustic and noise control, Lance Willis specifically today. And he said that because of the size of the park, it's absolutely, there's no way to control the noise and it's too small to have a pickleball court in it. And also he asked me about all the, neighboring as far as, we've got a basic acoustical hill there. So all the pressure or all the sound's going to go right down. I can hear what everybody says. I can see the whole park from my property, and other people will be even impacted more than I am. And so I just, because there's other activities like a zip line, more basketball, horseshoes, 2 playgrounds instead of 1, events in a pavilion, I'm just requesting that these get deleted. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy, so much. I think there were a lot of comments that were made throughout the day, throughout the afternoon, and I will add this comment and information to the discussion around those pickleball parks, pickleball things being there or not in the park. There is a lot of activity. It's going well. Thank you. All I can say is thank you for bringing that forward. Okay. And I've given it to Charity to make sure we pass on to our Parks and Recreation department. Again, Jody, thank you for the presentation. It was great. I think we're getting a lot of good input from many of the residents in the area, which is appropriate. And as we say, it's still a work in progress. So we know there are some financial limitations that are going to come up because of the overall cost, and things will be changing. I'm sure there will be probably another open house as we get closer to starting construction of the park at some time, another open house, because we like, or some kind of event where we bring out what the final one is. Is that right? The final plan. Okay. So, but I appreciate the presentation and everybody who came today to give comments. And we will go forward. Okay, thank you. This is a discussion only item, so no decisions are made tonight. Let's move on to item B, ratification of an application for a local jurisdiction affordable housing plan grant. And this is for discussion, consideration, and action upon a request to ratify an application for this grant through the Arizona Department of Housing, and Grants Manager DK Green will speak on the topic. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. Vice Mayor, council, staff, residents, welcome. Yeah, I'll be presenting this information actually on behalf of my colleague Ruth Mayday, our Community and Economic Developments Director. In her absence, she has put together some bullet points basically for me to go through this for ratification for this grant application. So I will be as concise as possible. These grants, some of these are a mouthful, but this is called the Local Jurisdiction Affordable Housing Plan Grant. The purpose of this grant is to develop an affordable housing plan specific to the Patio Park neighborhood of Clarksdale. This is the first time the state legislature has funded this program in response to the need to develop affordable housing throughout Arizona. And the legislature is providing financial assistance to counties and municipalities to pursue plans tailored to their individual needs. The proposed project includes the following components: a housing needs assessment identifying households by cohort and income level, suitable types and costs of housing for each household cohort income level, and estimated need for different housing types and price points by household cohort income level. A detailed analysis of specific housing initiatives that have the potential to increase the production of housing to meet estimated need, including potential private sector partnerships, organizational structures, zoning and code revisions, and incentive policies. Proposed draft revisions to the zoning code, development standards, and design standards to support housing initiatives. A robust action plan that includes an implementation timeline, potential partners and resources, and a mechanism for tracking and reporting progress. And the last bullet point here, community education regarding how housing affordability impacts individuals, families, and small and large businesses, focused on household types and income cohorts most impacted by housing affordability, and how partnerships, zoning and code revisions, and incentive policies address housing affordability to have positive outcomes in the community. Now, the deadline for this grant application was about 2 weeks ago, the 29th of February. So Ruth made sure she got that in under the deadline, and that's why we are presenting this to council tonight. So.
Is there any questions for DK? Let's start with Laura, then Marnie.
You said this was specific for Patio Park, but in reading this, I don't see anything that says that. And to me, this feels like it should be a town-wide plan. It should not just be for one area of
I
town.
believe that it is townwide,
Okay, I
but
apologize.
yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. I just want to make sure.
That was actually my question too.
Going to say that question, Lisa.
Is, thank you. Is a study of this type a requirement for further grants, for example, construction grants, design grants, and so forth?
As I understand it, yes, this is just for the planning part, that this particular funding was applied for. If we are to receive this, then we can move forward with construction, a grant for construction at a further date.
So this is
Planning phase.
get it ready and look for an opportunity type thing? Thank you.
Makes us more ready for things like LIHTC funding, which is a low-income tax credit funding. Is that correct? Yeah.
Right, and CDBG funding as well.
CDBG
So,
funding.
I mean, it's like, just like I had just mentioned, the Purple Pipe project. You know, when you have a study already prepared, and it really facilitates getting other grant funding when you have that information readily available.
Any other questions?
Yes, I have a
Yes,
question.
go ahead.
So this fact finding grant that we're going for, it's Clarkdale specific, I guess we've identified that. Are we partnering at all with any other joining communities? Are they doing anything like this that's gonna have any bearing on the information that comes forth out of this?
I can't speak to that. Maybe Manager Guthrie.
So I don't think there's any formal collaboration, but there has been talk through BV Rio about updating the housing study that had previously been done. But this particular grant was for us to get funding to do the study in our community specifically.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So just because we do the study doesn't mean we have to take any action based on it.
Correct. This gives us the opportunity, if something comes up, that we have the data we need to apply for that. Another example is, I think you all heard that we were awarded a $1 million grant as of yesterday for our new well and arsenic treatment and water tank design. And, you know, really how we were successful in that is we had just finished a whole study of Mescal well and, you know, what our needs were and what the problems with that well were. And so that data completely prepared us for that grant application. And I think it really led to us being awarded that grant.
Absolutely. We have somebody from the public who wishes to comment on that. Is that okay if I ask her to come on up?
I just wanted to
Yes,
say,
hold on,
I-
Amanda.
I do think we heard during the discussion of the Highlands conversation from the community about the concern of just continuing to build market rate housing. And people using the term workforce housing or affordable housing, when really what developer was presenting was market rate housing. So the idea for me that we have a study that says, this is what our community needs around affordable housing. These are maybe places that it's appropriate to build that housing. I don't know what the study will tell us, but that to me is really helpful. And I think it's reflective of what we've been hearing from the community.
I agree. So if it's open, no more questions for DK or town manager, can I open up to public? Come on up. Amanda Arnold
Thank you,
wishes
DK.
to speak on this topic. Thank you.
Okay, we will try this again. I'm Amanda Arnold. I live here in Clarkdale. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members, for inviting me back up. I think that sounds great for affordable housing. We certainly need it. But I had some questions, and maybe I'm asking too early since we're doing a study. But are we going to be looking at home ownership or rentals or both? What are we looking at as far as types of housing?
I think that is okay if I
Yeah,
answer?
you may speak. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that that's the purpose of the plan is, you know, what housing options on the spectrum are we in need of and what, you know, what types of products are going to fulfill those needs. So I think that is the purpose of the plan, is to tell us exactly what you're questioning, because we have those same questions.
So like down payment assistance,
Yeah,
okay.
all sorts of programs. And I mentioned CDBG funding and other communities I've worked in. We've had full-on programs for credit readiness, for down payment assistance, being able to use vouchers towards your mortgage payment. So a lot of different programs are available, but we first have to identify what the need is.
Okay, and are there existing lots that are identified for this,
No.
or we don't
No.
know?
No.
And is it just new construction or existing structures that could maybe be used for? workforce
I think
housing?
those are all great questions, and I think those are the questions that we also have. And so I believe that much of that will be identified in the plan.
Okay, all right, and then once we have the plan, there'll be revisions when we go over it. When
And
it's
I'm
presented.
sorry, I didn't
Like,
hear the question.
When we have the plan, it'll be presented.
Of course,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We will present the plan once we have it. Yes,
Okay, all right,
Absolutely, absolutely.
all right, thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Any other questions for DK or for town manager? This is a plan that's been really needed by our town for a number of years. I'm excited that it's going to happen. Having the opportunity to have a variety of housing in Clarkdale, to me, meets what we are all about. We are a town, a working town where people could live, people could work, and people could play. So being able to have a variety of housing for all that we have is all those people who live here and want to live here, want to continue to live here. This is a really good plan to have in place. So I appreciate this going forward, and we need, are there any other questions or comments? If not, I will take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve a request to ratify an application for local jurisdiction affordable housing plan grant through the Arizona Department of Housing and authorize the town manager to sign all required documents related to this grant should it be awarded.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Oh.
Question that just came to me as Lisa was reading.
Let's go ahead and second and then I'll get your question. It's second, it's been seconded. Go ahead.
If you don't receive the grant, we will not go forward with the plan at this time.
At this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good question. Okay, any other questions on the motion? It's been moved by Councilmember O'Neill and seconded by Vice Mayor Hunsetter to approve a request to ratify an application for a local jurisdiction affordable housing plan grant through the Arizona Department of Housing and authorize the town manager to sign all the required documents related to this grant should it be awarded. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you so much, DK, and
job.
thank you for doing this.
Well, yeah, I'll take very little credit. That was all Ruth
Just stand right there.
Absolutely.
We'll move on to item C, which is ratification of an application for the State of Arizona Smart Fund Grant. This is a discussion, consideration and act upon a request to ratify the submission of an application for the State of Arizona Smart Grant for the design of the Cement Plant Road Multimodal Improvement Project in the amount of $280,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back again.
Hey, thank you. So, yeah, again, this grant, we did apply for in the last couple of weeks, and this is for the Cement Plant Road, as Cement Plant Road wraps down toward Main Street and connects there at to where the sidewalk ends at in front of the Clark Jerome School. This would add multimodal trails, bike paths, sidewalk, curb, gutter, et cetera, enhance the safety improvements in that area, Cement Plant Road down Main Street. And again, this particular grant was just for design of this project. Similarly to the last one we just spoke about, if we were to receive this funding, it would be to design this project, at which point we would move forward to apply for a federal grant for the construction phase of this project. There are several federal grants that we're looking at. That's basically the gist of it.
Any comments for DK on this? Yes.
I am just so excited that we are applying for Smart Funds money. In the TPAC meetings, we talk a whole bunch, and Kevin Adams, who's the RTAC legislative representative, comes in and tells us, you know, there's this much money set aside for small communities. There's this much for big communities. The big communities have used all their money. The small communities haven't. If we don't ask for it, they're going to give it all away to the big communities. So thank you for asking for it and keeping it for the small communities.
What else can we ask for?
Oh, we got this grant previously for the bridge design.
Right.
And then when we ended up getting the appropriations grant that funded the whole bridge, they made us
Give this back.
decline this. So it did come to our mind on this, and there are, like DK said, several grants that we're looking at, and we're really excited about this. So just like Clarkdale Parkway, I mean, we have picture upon picture of people just walking down
Right.
on the side of the road with the cement trucks going back and forth. So we're very excited, and I want to thank Joni because it really was the Trails Master Plan that kind of planted the seed for us to pursue this project. And also Lou was great. You know, as he tells me, everything can't be an emergency, but he did make this one happen because we needed a little, you know, drawing from the engineer in order to apply for the grant, and he made that happen. So great team effort on this one.
Madam Mayor, will you take a motion?
Well, let me make a comment first.
Okay.
It's just, for me, this has been like, this is a huge priority. That road is unsafe for people who walk up and down that road. And when the Yavapai Apache Nation built the development across the road, it becomes even more critical that we get something done on that road. So I am so excited that we've applied for this SMART grant, fund grant, and we'll hopefully get it done, get it, the design, we'll get the grant for the design and then get it done because we need to have that road safe. It is, and it's only going to get more heavily used by people because as we know, zoning along there on either side is either commercial or some kind of residential. So there is going to be more and more and more traffic and people along that road. We need to get it done now. So just like Clarkdale Parkway.
Yep.
Okay, so that, yes, I'll take a motion.
Okay, I move that we ratify the submission of the Smart Fund Grant application for the design of the Cement Plant Road Multimodal Improvement Project in the amount of $280,000 and authorize the town manager to sign all required documents related to accepting this grant.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Vice Mayor Hunsetter and seconded by Councilmember Babbitt Pierce to ratify the submission of the Smart Fund Grant application for design of the Cement Plant Road Multimodal Improvement Project in the amount of $280,000 and authorize the town manager to sign all required documents related to this grant. Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you so much, DK, for.
Go
both
get
of
it.
those. Go get it. Okay, let's move on to item D, which is resolution 1710, accepting and dedicating a portion of Cement Plant Road as public right-of-way. This is again a discussion, consideration, act upon the resolution to accept Cement Plant Road as public right-of-way, and Public Works Director Lou Anderson is presenting this. Yay.
Thank
I
you.
know
Mayor.
there's trepidation around this, but yay.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council. Lou Anderson, Public Works, the Mayor mentioned. This agenda item, discussion and possible action to approve resolution 1710, dedicating Cement Plant Road as a public right-of-way. The town of Clarkdale acquired Cement Plant Road December 2nd, 2013 through a quick claim deed through JP Morgan Chase Bank, who obtained it through a series of bank mergers. Since we've accepted the land, we haven't dedicated it as right of way. So this resolution basically, and our recommendation from staff is to approve resolution 1710, accepting and dedicating Cement Plant Road as a public right of way.
And what,
I do have,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I do have you all know where it's at, but I do have
We do.
a visual if you want to see it. It basically starts where ADOT right of way ends at the number 1 store at the circle, traffic circle, and it goes up to the Cement Plant Road entrance.
So similar to Selma Mangini Park, we have to dedicate it as public right of way if we anticipate getting a state or a federal grant for improvement of it. So that's why we have undertaken it at this time.
We are in, the town manager is in negotiations with the cement plant, Salt River Group, on trying to assist with some maintenance because they currently, and one of the reasons we haven't accepted it is once we accept this and dedicate it as right of way, we're going to be responsible for maintaining.
That's correct. And I'm glad we're in negotiations with Phoenix Cement on this because that's the heaviest use on that road. And we need to make sure that we can keep it up to a good standard. But I'm again ecstatic that we're finally getting this road cleared up because that helps us with so many other things along that road in terms of access and who's got control of it and stuff. And this has been hanging over, this has been such an unknown area for us ever since I've moved here. It's who owns that road, who maintains that road, what are we going to do on that road? And I know we're all laughing around it, but, and I know it's an expense that comes to us to maintain it, but at some point it was going to happen. And I'm glad it's happening now, Lisa.
Did you hear any negative comments from Salt River Materials Group?
No, I mean, they were interested and they wanted to know what we were up to, but they didn't necessarily have any concerns. One of the things they brought up was the new subdivision and just making sure that we had a safe right turn.
Yavapai Apache subdivision.
Yeah.
No, the Highlands project.
Okay.
But at the, is it Quail Heights?
Mhm.
We're planning on tying that in with a sidewalk across Cement Plant Road and then tying it into the 8-foot walking path. So they're aware of that and they didn't have any concerns.
And we have reached out to, kind of flip-flopping back to the grant, which is connected to this item. We have reached out to the chairwoman of the nation, and they had previously given us a letter of support, but we asked for an additional letter of support on this, and I think they're very excited about the project.
Madam Mayor, will you accept a motion?
Do you have a comment?
Is there an opportunity of cost sharing with the cement plant?
So,
In relationship to maintenance and or improvements or whatnot?
yes, ma'am. I did broach that subject with them and we're talking back and forth. Right now, there is a very old, maintenance agreement that actually is not between us and them. It's within the prior owners and them. So it's a little interesting anyway. But I did mention, hey, you don't pay property taxes to us. You don't pay sales tax because they're right outside town limits, but they use our infrastructure. And that, I would really appreciate them contributing to the maintenance. So we're in discussions on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Here's a comment. Great proactive step, and thank you for taking this action to move this ahead.
I'll take a motion.
Madam Mayor, I move that we approve resolution 1710, accepting and dedicating a portion of Cement Plant Road as public right of way and authorize the mayor, the town attorney, and town clerk to execute all documents necessary.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Babbitt Pearson, seconded by Councilmember Jones to approve resolution 1710, accepting and dedicating a portion of Cement Plant Road as public right of way and authorize the mayor, the town attorney, and the town clerk to execute all documents necessary. Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, hearing none, motion carried. Thank you so much, Lou. Item 8 is possible vote to enter into executive session. It's my understanding that we don't have any items to discuss tonight, so this item is dismissed from the agenda. So let's move on to item 10, future agenda items. We have the list here from Charity of some of our ongoing projects. Just to note, if all of you are reading, we are not forgetting that we have some items around the opt-out for on the cellular water meter or discussion and some other rate items that were going to come forward after we had done the rate fees update a couple of months ago. Those two items are coming forward yet. So they're not on here, but the town manager and town clerk will make sure that they get on our agenda so we can get those before us. Any other items that you might want for future agenda? I'm seeing nobody adding anything, so we'll go to item 11, which is adjournment. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Vice Mayor Hunsetter and second by Councilmember Babbitt Pierce to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, we are adjourned at 7:23 p.m. Thank you all very much for coming. A long day for all of us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.